You can do a project in any of various areas. I have listed a lot of the traditional topics that people have done in the Moodle section on your project, and that is actually where this video clip is also going to be posted. So in terms of choosing topics, you know, a lot of ideas are listed there. You can do an economic institution, you can do an economic thinker, you can do an economic event, and if you wanted, you could do an economic data set. If you do an institution, what we're wanting you to do is to choose an organisation, institution, public body, private body, it could be a multinational corporation, and you study what that corporation does, the history of that corporation or organisation, you know, what its role is in the economy, and the issues surrounding its intervention in the economy. So you could do something like the Bank of England, Federal Reserve, you know, looking at bodies that make monetary policy and how they do it and the controversies about that. You could look at a global institution like the World Bank and discuss its role in developing countries. Okay, so economic institutions, and there are many, many of them. You could do an economic thinker, which could be, you know, one of the ones that we discuss a lot in the course, like Keynes or Friedman or Hayek or Ricardo or Smith. What we want you to do there is to make sure that you discuss the contemporary relevance of that person's ideas. We want you to make sure that you place that person's ideas and their breakthrough ideas, the big things they added to economics, their big ideas, into the context in which they were living. So, you know, it's showing how their life and times affected their ideas, and then how their ideas are still relevant today. And you could do an economic event. Again, you'd be looking for an event that had a relevance to today. So a good example would be, and I know a few people have picked this, the Wall Street crash. Wall Street crash is relevant today because we've just gone through a big financial crash, and so some of the issues that led to the Wall Street crash are relevant today, some of the issues of how the crash happened, and then the reaction to the crash, the consequences of the crash. Some of those are very, very significant today because there are parallel processes occurring today. You could pick a data set to do your project on. I'm sure that many people will not do this, but it is possible for those who want to. So you could pick something like British unemployment since 1945, and you could analyse the trends in the data on unemployment. You would need to present the data. You'd need to understand that all data is flawed. It has to be collected in certain ways, you know, and the way that it's collected and the way that it's presented will include some biases, some decisions about definitions and who's unemployed and who isn't, and who do we count and who do we not. All of these things are things that affect the quality and accuracy and meaning of that data. A successful project on a data set is all about taking the numbers, taking them apart, deconstructing them, showing that you really understand how this material was collected, the problems inherent in its collection, and then, you know, however flawed the data is, you would also go on to say, what does this data show, what significance does it have, what trends are discernible in that data. I'm going to talk a little bit more later in different clips, a little bit more about the requirements of a project in each of those areas, but they are your choices. An economic event, economic institution, economic thinker, or a data set.